Welcome back to Amazingly Average, the show with advice to amazingly average authors and actors. My name is John, and every time that I have a campfire, I burn a hole in my shirt, or my pants, or something else that I care about. This week's episode of Scream was named The Orphanage. The Orphanage is a Spanish movie that came out in 2007. The movie starts with this girl named Laura who's in an orphanage and she gets adopted. She grows up and marries a man named Carlos and adopts another child called Simone. Laura comes back to the orphanage and reopens it as a center for children with disabilities. Simone makes an imaginary friend called Tomas. There is a social worker named Benigna who tells Laura and Carlos that Simone is HIV positive. Later on, apparently Benigna might have abducted Simone. This turns out not to be the case because Benigna gets hit by a car. We find out that Tomas is actually a child that used to be at the orphanage and he died a couple weeks before Laura was adopted. We find out that Benigna actually murdered a bunch of the children at the orphanage because they ridiculed Tomas, who went off to hide in a cave and then he drowned. Laura contacts all of the spirits of the deceased children in hopes that she'll find Simone. She finds Simone hidden in a secret passage within the orphanage, and he apparently died while he was stuck in there. Laura overdoses on pills, and then the end of the movie is ambiguous because we don't know if she actually died or if she didn't die. And now on to this week's episode of Scream. Emma sleepwalks into the kitchen and has a dream that she stabs Audrey, Noah, and Kieran. Maggie finds her in the kitchen and wakes her up. Kieran suggests that Emma and he skip school in light of the whole Audrey confession, but Emma insists on going to school anyway. Sheriff Acosta goes into Gustavo's room and finds out that he's not there. We are now in Brooke's room, and Gustavo and Brooke wake up in bed together. She apparently has a migraine. Apparently they were drinking last night, and they probably hooked up, and they're making out. She goes to the shower, and she says, "You have to go out the window before my dad comes back. I'm too hungover for this." She says that she needs closure about Jake's death before she can move on. At school, everybody hates Audrey, and Emma pushes Audrey into a locker out of a fit of rage. She opens her locker, and there's a lock of hair hanging from it with a tape with her name on it hanging on this hair. Emma and Kieran listen to this tape, and apparently Karen Lang has recorded every conversation that they had, and Karen Lang says that she needs Emma. Whether this is as a science project or something more sinister remains in the dark. Audrey and Zoe are fighting in Noah's room. Noah looks through his computer and finds out that Zoe emailed that file of Audrey's confession to herself. Zoe claims that she listened to it and then deleted it without sending it to anybody. And then Noah says, "Oh, this was sent by secret friend." Noah defends Zoe the entire time, infuriating Audrey. Come on, Noah. Bros before Zoes. Sheriff Acosta tells Maggie what this incident in Phoenix was with Gustavo. Gustavo and his friend named Kyle got one of Sheriff Acosta's guns. They were fooling around with it, and this fooling around ended with Kyle getting shot in the face. Sheriff Acosta seems really rattled because Gustavo either called the ambulance or the police, and when they arrived, he was calm as a cucumber, just sketching his friend while he was dying on the floor. And Acosta seems to think that there might have been a critical amount of time in between when the guy was shot and when Gustavo actually called for help. Emma and Kieran go to visit Miss Lang in the hospital. She wakes up for a moment, sees the two of them, and sort of shrieks. Now, was she shrieking because she saw Emma? Or because she saw Kieran? What I'm thinking is perhaps, at some point during this scuffle on the staircase, it is possible that if the killer was Kieran, the mask might have slipped, or she might have seen his actual identity before getting thrown over the stairs. Somebody delivers daisies to the hospital, which are supposed to go to Karen Lang's room. Emma and Kieran sneak over and take the letter off of these daisies. It says something like, "Get well soon, love Piper." After Noah basically sides with Zoe over Audrey and Audrey leaves his room, Noah and Zoe finally have sex. Noah is no longer a virgin. I guess it wasn't really bi-curious in the virgin anymore anyway, because Audrey definitely likes girls, so I don't think she's bi-curious. Emma and Kieran go to some house, I don't remember which because I wasn't paying that close attention, and they find a bunch of pictures on the wall with one of them hanging upside down. Apparently this is a class photo, and it shows Piper and Karen Lang were classmates. I didn't realize that Piper was that much older. Maybe Karen's just younger than I thought. That picture of Piper, though, looks so sinister. In the after-sex talk with Noah and Zoe, they're inside this fort. Noah says, "Oh no, I might have gotten you involved in all this," and Zoe says, "I got myself involved." In regards to the fact that Noah definitely liked Zoe, Zoe says anybody who watched us would have known this. At that point, Noah's like, "Oh no, there must be a bug in this camera I got from the killer." Gustavo sneaks into the sheriff's station, takes a picture of a bunch of files on his dad's desk. The text message conversation between Jake and Mayor Maddox was Mayor Maddox telling Jake to burn down a house for him. When Brooke finds this out, she confronts her dad, and that schmuck had it coming. "You drove my mom away. And you killed my boyfriend. What kind of father are you? Audrey tries to type an apology for Emma, and then she gets a call from the killer. The killer says, "Sorry the lady of the lake took your friend's virginity, but now that means that he's got to die. If you want to pick up the pieces, I'll give you the address." It is an invitation hosted by Emma and Audrey called Face the Mask. It is a rager. Haley created the party in order to help somebody that she was seeing. Haley goes into a little room on her own, and this whole time I'm like, stab, stab. This masked person walks into the room, but the mask is up, but in such a way that the camera can't see the person's face. But Haley sees the face, so Haley clearly knows who this person is. Haley tries to blow the killer before they pull the mask down. She sees the knife that's right next to the killer. Haley gets stabbed to death, and it is brutal, and this whole time I'm like, why did the hot ones die? Emma and Audrey are walking through this building. The power goes out. They find a picture of Piper on the wall. They go into this room, and they find Piper Shaw's corpse sitting in a chair like it was waiting for them. This was kind of morbid. Emma's idea here is that the killer wants revenge on Emma and Audrey because the two of them killed Piper. After Brooks confronted her father, she goes to that hotel room where her mom used to always go. She says, "You're late." And Gustavo walks in the room. Gustavo was late. What is his alibi? At the end of the night, the sheriff walks into this party, and under the sign that says "Face the Mask," Haley is hanging. And Haley literally faced the mask. And she tried to blow the killer. And now it's time for the killer predictions. Alright, there are three very clear suspects right now. There is Zoe, there is Gustavo, and there is Kieran. Zoe very clearly does not like Audrey for whatever reason, whether it's jealousy or anger. Kieran has just had so much perfect opportunity to make himself not look like a suspect this entire time. He's been guiding Emma's thoughts about who the killer might be and how to process all of these feelings this entire time. Gustavo is potentially a psychopath, suggested by his potential lack of remorse for his close friend being shot in the face. It was ruled as an accidental death, but his father is really starting to suspect him. Of the three people that are here, they tried to make Zoe look especially guilty today. Gustavo is painted to look very suspicious as well. And Kieran was painted to not look suspicious at all. Well, viewers, this is rattling me because I never thought I'd be here. But I'm gonna say that I think the killer this week is Kieran. I know, Gretchen, you told me so. We'll see. It could still be somebody else. Well, there you have it. That's this week's recap, and I will see you next time.